adolescence injuries, and you can your children will have their weights. And despite the fact that I perceive how it could have harmed you, it's what I realized no doubt invite in this video. I'll examine how Jaden Smith stood up to his mother, Jada Pinkett Smith, on the Red Casual conversation. By separating them into a progression of occasions, the most charming one being number one, as it might appear to be entertaining, yet come as a shock to you. Before we get into the video, try to hit that buy-in button and leave a remark underneath saying I've bought in. And I'll try to buy and answer to your remarks. So we should make a plunge number 7, the ensnarement, in August 2021 of the most moving issues and superstar significance, going on the vast majority, called the snare in the event you don't have the foggiest idea what this trap means, and how it turned into a viral moving word out of nowhere. I will move back a bit and talk about what happened. Jada Pinkett Smith holds a show called The Red Casual Conversation, where she has genuine conversations with various individuals to share perspectives and thoughts, and some of the time to settle matters and issues. Emerging The Red Casual Conversation was debuted on June 13, 2018, and is being displayed on the Facebook. Observe. So everything began when Jada Pinkett Smith conceded that she was with another person other than Will Smith for some time. You want to say plainly what occurred. And I got into an entrapment with August. So they chose to discuss this on the Red Casual Conversation. This episode was one of the most watched episodes of the Red Casual Conversation, since individuals were interested to understand what happened. Many individuals felt for Will Smith in light of the fact that the greater part of them accept he didn't merit how Jada Pinkett Smith treated him well. Will Smith was on the Red Casual Conversation to settle things, discuss what was happening between the two of them, and to reconcile. During the show, Will was attempting to imagine as though he was okay and fine, yet his face offered maybe he had cried. Before the show, the expression "all over" has been in the memory of many individuals as it became famous overall, and surprisingly utilized his images. The miserable Will Smith with his face looking as though he had cried prior to coming to the show later emerged to say that the justification for why his face seemed as though he was going to cry was that he was dried out. Definitely, I truly felt like we could be over. Many individuals wouldn't trust the case of Will Smith and generally assumed it was only a reason to cut down the report's circumventing grade. It's extremely difficult for anybody to be aware on the off chance that what Will Smith said is valid regarding the parchiness issue. Yet what's actual is that the emergency made Will Smith miserable. It's reasonable as he is a human and has been dedicated to his better half from the beginning. Number 6. The occurrence. Getting further into the matter, we should talk about what occurred between Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith in 2013. Bits of hearsay were circumventing that Jada and Will Smith were in an open relationship, and any of them could be involved with someone else. We concluded that we planned to isolate for a while, and you go sort out some way to fulfill yourself without the individual being impacted or the marriage being impacted on the grounds that they could continuously get from where they halted. And since it was an understanding all was well, you've been on an amazing excursion with me. No doubt you realize there's kin sentiments included, right? Yet later, Jada Pinkett Smith said that these bits of gossip were false, and she and Will were never in an open relationship. She kept on saying that the two of them were glad, and they were building the family, and in particular, since they had kids together, they could never separate. Running against the norm, a large portion of their fans accepted that it was inevitable before Will and Jada Pinkett Smith separated in light of the fact that their marriage didn't appear to be serious areas of strength for that 5 August Alsina. Later on, there were a few new improvements as Jada conceded to being in an entrapment with a vocalist called Augustusina, began a companionship with August, and we truly turned out to be ridiculously old buddies. August Alsina was known to be a family companion of the Smiths. Jada Pinkett Smith on the show said that everything began with requesting help for one of two options: me needing to assist his well-being with Willing Smith was found in the syndicated program attempting to hold things together, and settle the issue they were confronted with during the meeting. Jada Smith was attempting to conceal her relationship with August by being cautious with words and continually guaranteeing that all she had with him was only an ensnarement and nothing else, and that she and Will were in some kind of emergency during that time. Will Smith sooner or later was worn out on every one of these trap issues and needed to make Jada Pinkett Smith tell the truth. Also concurred that what she had with August Alsina was a relationship, and in addition to an entrapment, like she continued to state, the vast majority emerged to say that what Jada Pinkett Smith did was off-base, and this impacted her a ton, the entire cheating and relationship allegations, and how miserable and harm she made. Will Smith made individuals fault her for pursuing such a choice. A great many people couldn't simply envision how bizarre and wrong it was that she was involved with another person, and most particularly a family companion. Individuals likewise accept that Will Smith was more harmed in light of the fact that he never undermined her all through their relationship to date. Number 4, the impacted child. This multitude of reports and relationship issues Will and Jada Smith were having didn't influence Jaden Smith, since we should be straight to the point. It's difficult having two superstars as guardians. Jaden Smith expressed that in spite of every one of his folks were going through, and what his family was going through, he actually cherished them one way or the other. Yet Jaden Smith himself was confronted with the vast majority, accepting that he was the leaned toward offspring of his folks. Yet Will and Jada Smith declined this guarantee. Will Smith said during these times he doesn't restrict his kids from doing anything. He further elaborated that he trained them to realize that they were liable for their activities. Thus, he allows them to confront the ramifications for their activities. He said that this way of nurturing was to permit his youngsters to do anything they liked to do, and furthermore make them realize anything they did, or anything that choices they made, they would confront the actual results. He accepts that this will direct their activities and assist them with gaining from their slip-ups. He will not be placing his youngsters in an enclosure, so they can be allowed to do anything that they like to do, and whoever they need to be. Number 3, alone. It was not shocking when Jaden Smith chose at 16 years old to move out of his folks' house and remain alone. A great many people were against Will Smith's way of nurturing and trust that this way of nurturing will overindulge a kid and presumably open the kid to unsalvageable harm. In Jada Smith's perspective, Jaden will be remaining without anyone else on the grounds that she said he is an exceptionally experienced kid, that he was far mature than his age. I contemplated internally. However devastated as I seem to be, I resembled he's right definitely now. Is the ideal opportunity. He's 15. It's the ideal opportunity for him to leave. We can see that it is all in all a fact that he really could remain without help from anyone else. And throughout the long term, the connection among Jada and Jaden Smith appeared to be okay, which implies the choice was not a terrible choice. After all, even with this, Jada Smith was really miserable because of her child moving out of the house and remaining all alone. However, at that point, that is simply typical. A mother will continuously believe that her kid should be around. Basically, at that age. Number 2, inclined toward child, as opposed to Will Smith saying that he permits his youngsters to pursue their own choices and furthermore let them in on the results of their choices. He said that Jaden Smith was a leaned toward kid in a red casual conversation. Of late, this approaching out from Will Smith's mouth kind of makes it more articulated that Jaden Smith might be the most loved offspring of the family. However, at that point, we as a whole know that Jaden Smith doesn't appear to like this thought, since he accepts that he is attempting to make a day-to-day existence and his very own account. Number 1, the disgraced spouse. Another fascinating event was when Jada Pinkett Smith said that she was a mother disgraced alongside her child Jaden. To be earnest, it could not have possibly been simple for Jaden to have adapted through the 2 or 3 months His folks were in emergency in light of the fact that no kid would be cheerful about their folks separating or having one emergency or the other. I were going through an undeniably challenging time. Definitely we concluded that we planned to isolate for a period, as it appears Jaden appears to accept that his mom is the one calling the shots causing this emergency since his dad, which is Will Smith, has sat idle yet to settle what is happening, so it's generally expected that Jaden is a piece furious, or perhaps angrier with his mom. Envision a family where all is great and everyone is blissful, despite the fact that your kin pester you on occasion. You actually love them, since they have their minutes. However, at that point one of your folks commits an error that could stop all that.